do this. All right, well, welcome to US 1. So good to see all of you again. So last week we talked about the Constitution, and now we're moving into the Bill of Rights. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint here. It's actually Google Slides, but you know what I mean. Here we go. Is everyone seeing this?
Yes, Mr. Robbins.
Thank you, XY. Oh, that's share. Trying to do, no, I did it again. Trying to do slideshow. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, here we go. So we're talking about the Bill of Rights today. Protecting freedom since 1791. That's when it was ratified. So basically today we're going to talk about why it was created and how it protects the rights of citizens in the US. Other countries have similar documents, but we're talking about the Bill of Rights today. As a group, we're going to paraphrase one of the amendments, and then you're going to work in your small groups, paraphrasing a few of the other amendments. And then as a class, we're going to share out our findings. So first, we're going to learn about the background of the document. Then we're going to get into a bit more of the details by paraphrasing, and then we're going to share as a class. So that's our plan for today. Let me go to the next slide. So before we actually get into the document itself, I want to ask all of you, who's heard about any debates around abortion, gun control, school choice? These are kind of famous debates. So just raise your hand if you've heard of any of those. Nice, nice. I saw you, Abigail, XY. Very nice. So can anyone describe just one of those debates? Just pick one. What's it generally about? Anyone? One, do you have any thoughts on this?
I've heard a lot of talk about abortion and how it concerns women's reproductive rights and the say of government on their bodies.
Exactly, right. So, and you use the word rights. That was a great description of that debate. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on that? XY?
Some people believe that guns are also a right.
Mhm.
So, like, they believe that it should be protected under like the amendment. Um, which one was it? Second or something?
It's the
But
second. Great
yeah.
application.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you everyone for those contributions. So we're talking about rights, and it's still very common today for people to get involved in these debates about what is really a right of a citizen, what are they allowed to do, and what is the government allowed to do in relationship to the citizen. So that's what a lot of these debates are about. So let's get into what is the basis of a lot of these rights, and that's the Bill of Rights. So this is a list of 10 amendments, which is another word for like changes to the Constitution. And these mainly protect citizens from government overreach. So a lot of the new Americans, you could say, in this time period, they're very concerned with a tyrannical government sort of overtaking their rights and treating them in unfair ways. So it was introduced in 1789. That's about 8-ish years after the Revolutionary War, and then ratified about 2 years later. So the main reasons that it was introduced and ratified is one, to increase support for the Constitution by ensuring that there are protections for these rights, which we'll get into. One of them is the right to, own a gun, the right to bear arms. We have several rights that you've probably heard of. Freedom of speech is a big one, freedom of religion. There's lots of different rights or civil liberties in here. And these are all things that were at risk during the war, so they wanted it to be legally protected following the war. So here's just a little timeline for you if you're curious. Of course, the last battle, war was about 1775 over to 81, one of the shorter wars in history. Then we get the Constitution about 6 years later, ratified 7 years after that point, and then we get the Bill of Rights very shortly after. They're all pretty much one after the other. So those are your basic facts about the Bill of Rights. Now we're going to do a knowledge check. So we're going to see Here's some of your thoughts on this. So what is the Bill of Rights? Just give me a brief, maybe one word definition in your own words. What is the Bill of Rights? I'll take any answers. Abigail, do you have an answer to this one?
Um, I think the Bill of Rights is a way for US citizens to know what they're allowed to do and what they could do in America.
Exactly, right. And the key part is kind of in relationship to the federal government. We're not talking about state governments, we're not talking about what citizens can do, outside of the US. We're talking about in the US, what are sort of powers you have against the government. But great summary. I like that. XY, do you have an opinion on this one?
I think there are certain unalienable rights that people have, just privileges that come with being alive and a part of the
Yeah.
state. Yeah.
That's a great point. They a lot of the sort of philosophers or founders that wrote these, I'm so glad you brought that up. They were thinking of them as inalienable things that all humans ideally share these rights. But here we're very fortunate to have those rights enshrined legally. So yeah, I think we can move on from the second question. I think we pretty much got this. So great work, everyone. So now we're gonna do our activity. So first we're gonna go through the First Amendment as a class, and we're basically going to come up with a paraphrase. So that means we're gonna read over it and then kind of put it in our own words. And then in your small groups, you're gonna go through amendments 2 to 5, just the first half today. And you're gonna put those in your own words as a group. And then we'll go over everything as a class. So first, let's look at number 1. So would anyone like to read, let's see, up till religion? Congress to religion? If not, I can take it. Okay, Juan, go for it.
Okay. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Or
Okay, let me stop you right there. Let's take it a little bit more slowly. So great job reading that though. Really great. Let's see. So Congress shall make no law. That's pretty self-explanatory. What do we think respecting means in this context?
I think it means it could be replaced or rephrased to involving.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Yeah, I like that. So you feel free to write this in your notebooks as we're going along. But let's see. So yeah, Congress shall make no law. What was the word you used?
Involving.
Involving. Okay, nice. So shall make no law involving what? So next we have an establishment of religion. So of course the key word is religion. It's obviously referring to that. What about establishment? What do we think that word means? Abigail.
An institution, a corporation, place.
Yeah, exactly. It could be any of those. So today we use the word establishment to mean, I think most often a business corporation. That's a good way of putting it. So it's kind of, I think I would say organization. I think that's what I would say. So Congress will make no law involving an organization, a religion. I think that's a great way to put it. So this is of course the freedom of religion that we know and love from the Bill of Rights. This is something people talk about a lot, and it basically means exactly as we said, there will be no law either for or against any organization of religion. And that basically means anyone can practice what they want. They could practice nothing. The government's not going to cast an opinion on that. So let's move on. XY, you want to take the next section, I guess?
Sure. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Oh yeah, so I kind of jumped ahead, but that's still
okay.
The religion.
Or abridging the freedom of the speech, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Okay, nice. Thank you. You read that beautifully. And so yeah, I kind of jumped ahead with the religion part, but of course we know prohibit means to, prevent, to stop. Does anyone know what free exercise means? What does that part mean? Free exercise.
To be able to practice your whatever establishment of religion you might want.
Exactly. Yeah, great explanation. So freely, of course, these are all freedoms, so it's nice that that word is in there. Freely exercise. Exercise means to just do something, basically. We have physical exercise today, but you can use it in a broader context. So that's pretty much what that means. We've been over the religion part, so let's continue. Abridging, that's a tough one, I think. I think I would only know this by the context. So we know the freedom of speech, that's pretty obvious. Freedom of speech. We'll get into the speech part, but first let's handle the abridging. What does the word mean to abridge?
To stop.
To stop, yeah. So that makes sense. So since we know this document is about protecting these various rights, they just by the context, you would think if they're referring to here's one of your freedoms, they wouldn't be talking about we're going to restrict this freedom. They would be saying we're not going to restrict this. Yeah. So by context and by maybe background knowledge, that is what abridging means. So yeah, so Congress shall make no laws. This is all describing types of laws that Congress won't make. So they won't respect the establishment of religion. They won't prohibit its exercise, its free exercise. They won't make a law abridging the freedom of speech. And speech is, of course, things that you say verbally, or of the press. And press is, of course, newspapers. So we're going to move a little bit more quickly here. But these are basically 5 different things that the government won't interfere with. Let's take this last one, petition the government for redress of grievances. That's a little bit complicated. So what is a petition? There we go.
To ask, to petition something, to ask for something.
So we've heard of like actual petitions. Like what is petition as a noun? You can take it, Abigail. Like what is a thing called a petition? Like if I were to hold a petition in my hand, what is that?
You're filing a file, like a letter, a
Right.
document.
Yes, it's a document, it's a letter, and it's usually signed by many people. And it's kind of asking for something or asking for something to stop. So that's basically what this is saying here. So redress is just a way to say kind of like take account of or look at, essentially. So we're going to petition. There will be a right to petition the government to ask the government to take care of our grievances, which are basically things that we don't like. I would spend more time on this, but we do have to move on to the activity. But I think we get the picture. So Congress will respect religion and its free exercise, free speech, free press, assembly. That's just people coming together as a group in a peaceful way, and petition. Okay, so I think we got that. Now it is your turn to do this yourselves in your small groups. So I'm going to share this with you, and I'll give you a chance to work on the next few amendments on your own. So let's do 2 through 5. I'll give you about 5 minutes to work on that. I'll still be here, but I'll let you work on it on your own, so you can call me in. If you need any help explaining something, any extra support, I will be available. But otherwise it's all you, and then we'll share out in about 5 minutes. So I'll call you back when 5 minutes are up. All right. So I'm gonna turn off my camera and everything, and just call me back if you need me. But you should work with XY also, guys.
Oh, so this isn't individual, it's small groups.
That was the idea. Yeah.
Oh, like okay, the 3 of us. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the 3 of you together.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, since we don't have that many, you know what? Yeah, do it the other way. Never mind. So, yeah, do you two together because it'll be good to get some different opinions. So XY, you can do it on your own. If we had
Okay.
more people, you
That's fine.
could have a group, but you know,
Got you.
since you two are already together, that makes sense actually. Okay, so 5 minutes. I'll start it now. Um, Call me if you need any help.
Can we turn off our cameras?
Yeah, you can turn them off.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna turn mine off, so you don't have to see that.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes, I'm here. What's your question?
Yes. Is there a word limit as to how short we should make it? Like we're abridging the wording of the Bill of Rights, right? Like we're making it paraphrasing it. Mm.
Yeah, I would say don't make it too long. I would say try to
Okay.
probably keep it at least the same length of what's there, if not shorter. Ideally, probably shorter, but if you need more words, that's fine.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Whatever leads to you, having a cohesive understanding of what it is, I would say, but don't make it too long.
Okay.
All right. All right, that's about half the time. So another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, 30 more seconds, and then we'll come back together. All right, that's it for our 5 minutes. If you didn't have time to finish, that's okay, because we're about to go over it as a class. So I'm going to share my little list of all of these amendments. And we're starting off with the second one. So what does the Second Amendment mean? Abigail.
That people can keep arms to
That's because I muted my own computer. Can you say that one more time?
the Second Amendment can mean that people are able and people have the right to have arms in their houses so they can defend themselves and have the freedom to have firearms in case they need to fight someone.
Right, exactly. So you got the point that arms are, of course, firearms. People think it's funny how it says bear arms. They think about someone with the arms of a bear, kind of a funny image. But yeah, great, great. I like that definition. Let's move on to number 3. XY, go for it.
I said, no soldiers squatting in houses without permission, including wartime, unless prescribed.
Nice. Yeah. That's pretty much exactly what it says. So squatting, interesting way of describing it. The key is that they're not free roaming soldiers. So this was based on, of course, the time period before the Revolution, when the British were kind of snooping on the colonists, and they were like, okay, we'll just keep soldiers in your actual houses, so we can sort of, be very, very controlling and very invasive. So it's really about private property. So the rights of someone who owns, their own house, they're in their own space. You can't really violate that with putting troops in there. But yeah, great explanation. So let's move on to the Fourth Amendment. Juan, go for it.
I actually it ties back with like the revolutionary times and how the British were really forcing people to do something against their will, because the Fourth Amendment basically protects private property from the government taking it or searching through it without a proper warrant or probable cause, which can relate to how the British were just inside people's houses without their consent.
Right, exactly. And you brought in probable cause. That is a little bit beyond our course, but great job bringing that in. That's exactly what it's about. It's about, none of these things, they're persons. Unfortunately, probably a slavery reference. We don't like that, but that was a thing at this time period. But yes, basically anything they own. So their houses, papers, effects, it's just any of your stuff can't be seized without a reasonable reason, which is a warrant. So a warrant is basically a judge has said, they're for whatever reason we've decided to search your house or maybe take some of your things. So this can't be done arbitrarily. It needs to be a good reason for seizing property. And the Fifth Amendment. Abigail.
Well, the first part, I think, the first part of the Fifth Amendment can be translated to like people cannot be judged by 2 times for the same crime, meaning like second double jeopardy. They cannot be forced to testify against themselves as well.
Right, yeah. So this one's pretty long and complicated, but you got 2 really important parts of it. So let's see. So the first part is there needs to be a grand jury. So a jury is, of course, you've heard of jury duty. Maybe your parents, some relatives, some teachers have gone for jury duty. So the idea of a jury is that you will have just regular people in your area present if you're on trial. So that means it's not just you and the government, just you versus the police. You also have your peers there to judge and sort of witness what's happening. Unless it's in the army, land or naval forces, then you don't need that. So if it's an infamous crime that's like murder, something really serious, you will have a jury present. Let's see. So then you got the double jeopardy part. So the idea of that is you can't be charged for the same it's not exactly the same crime as in like if you commit 2 murders, you can only be convicted, you can only be on trial for murder once. That's not really how that works. It's that the same crime, like on the same day, the same event, essentially, you can only be charged for it once.
Mhm.
That's basically that. So you got that very well. You also can't be a witness against yourself. That's critical. You can't be in your own trial and then call as a witness to testify against yourself. That would be pretty messed up. There needs to be like other people that have witnessed what's happened. And has anyone heard of people pleading the fifth? Have we seen that in TV shows? Yeah, so that's what this is about. Basically, you can't incriminate yourself. You can't be forced to incriminate yourself. I guess you could admit that you're guilty if you want to, but you can't be compelled to do that. Also similar, another kind of property rights thing. You shall not be deprived. So that means these things can't be taken away from you, your life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. So basically, this is rule of law. So your life, liberty, and property can't be taken away from you without it being done in like a legal way. So someone can't just roll up to your house and be like, "Give me your stuff," or I'm gonna kill you now," because they did have the death penalty at this time. So those things can only happen through the law. That's the idea. And of course, private property again coming up. It shall not be taken without compensation, and compensation is usually money. So if the government's going to take your property, you have to be paid for it. Essentially, that's that. So great work, everyone. We did a wonderful job today. Those are all the amendments. For our homework, you can work on paraphrasing numbers 6 through 10. I also have a nice video for us here. It kind of explains some of these points in more detail. I'll share that in the chat if you want to check that out. You want a little review of some of the history behind this. But yeah, great work today. And I'll see you all next class.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.